style and were always in control in the opening minutes. It was no surprise when they went in front. 21 minutes into the game, Philip Nail chipped in the free kick, and when the ball broke loose, Craig McCandless gave Alan Fettis no chance.
Left 3 minutes into extra time before a Stephen Baxter special finally beat the Glens. And from the jubilation they might have won a final, but the first Big Two match went to Linfield.
21st minute, Linfield equalised. Lindsay Curry and Richie Johnson combined beautifully. And Curry's cross was headed in by Noel Bailey. One each. In the 51st minute, Linfield took the lead. Poor defence, and Lindsay Curry scored.
All season sealed the Blues' fate in the Lombard Ulster Cup semi-final. Sandy Fraser was pretty happy about it.
I've done the usual. I get the ball and I like to kind of turn and that kind of thing, you know. I turned and just had a whack at it. And I mean, anybody that's been coming to see the games all year has been telling you since the start of the season that I've been doing it all season and haven't in, you know. And that's the first one that paid off.
Super first goal tonight. What about the second one, which really sealed it as well as far as the result was concerned?
Well, that was another one. I couldn't believe I header. I mean, it must be the first header I've scored since I was 12 as well. It was a great cross and I just hit off my head and fortunately in the net, you know.
Speedy wasn't going to be outdone. He got one right at the end.
Oh, tremendous goal, wasn't it? It's tremendous. He was saying he'd been struggling all night, maybe a little bit of flu, you know. And he says he was struggling, so he says to me, like, it's my need to do it tonight and hopefully it's what, you know. I'll just say not to be done, you have to top up yourself and to score another one, you know.
Those second half strikes decided the game, but Linfield had opened the scoring in the 38th minute through Jeff Spears. 2 minutes later, Kilbeg David did manage a fall with the equaliser.
He done very well tonight, Greg. He scored a good goal early on for us and overall had a good game. We went out and competed.
Even back consolation is voted down who meet tonight's winners Glenavon or Coleraine.
Sunday, Linfield crashed 4-0 at home to Cliftonville. Billy Drake's bicycle kick putting a Reds one up. A goalkeeping mistake led to number 2. Sean O'Kane tucking the ball in the net. A red card for fullback Alan Dornan added to Linfield's problems. And almost immediately it was 3-0. Peter Murray floating in the free kick. Just after half-time it was 4-0. Drake getting his second with the far post header. It's the worst possible start for manager Bowyer, who took over the reins at Windsor in the close season.
The first 45 minutes were characteristically quiet for Portadown. In the second half, though, they got their act together, and it was no surprise when they went in front in the 63rd minute. A Roy McCready free kick coming back off the wall, being hoisted in again for Sandy Fraser eventually to control well before hitting the crossbar, and the ball coming back off Wesley Lamont before crossing the line. Linfield's problems were compounded by a missed penalty in the 77th minute. McCready adjudged to have handled a Burrows cross. Up stepped Lindsay Curry in his third match for the Blues. His miss symbolic.
The Ports have opened up an 8-point gap on the chasing pack, but as you can see, Linfield still down in middle table, and their winning revival was halted at Castlereagh Park, where they ran into a man who had brought them so much glory in the past. It was an emotional day for Roy Coyle with the visit of his former club Linfield to Castlereagh Park. It was more like a cup-tie atmosphere with the big crowd treated to an excellent game. A great volley from O'Neill thundered off the bar, and Armstrong followed up with a simple header for the opening goal after 71 minutes. But Linfield battled on, and 5 minutes later got a deserved equaliser. Surrounded by defenders, Lindsay Curry somehow got the opening and squeezed it past Crooks. And substitute Crawford McRae just curling his shot over the bar. 1-1 in the end, and no doubt Roy Coyle happy enough with the...
It was a couple of moments of magic that sent the Blues to round 6, helped though by generous opponents. That generosity broke the deadlock after 23 minutes. A Noel Bailey ball found Jason Allen, who left his defensive duties in favour of a left-wing forage. Maybe the surprise of the situation caused Liam Smallwood's needless challenge. There was as much relief as jubilation for Linfield as referee Des Blair confirmed the penalty, Stephen Baxter completing the formalities. 13 minutes later, the ball was being fished out of the Welders' net again. Baxter again, after a suicidal Blackstock back pass. This time referee Blair wasn't as happy, apparently for offside. Half-time approaching, it looked like it would take something special for number 2. Bang on cue, Martin McGackie, with what he reckons is his most spectacular goal to date, from easily 20 yards to kill the juniors' ambitions. And 3 minutes the other side of the break, Baxter was at it again for what would have been his hat-trick. John McConnell, the provider, the referee, had no cause for complaint with this one. The Welders did score a consolation on the hour though. Inevitably Liam Smallwood, a pre-match injury doubter, finished superbly from a Roy Allen free kick. But 6 minutes from time, the Blues assured themselves of one of their more convincing wins of the season. Lindsay Curry challenging McGackey's earlier effort for goal of the season. A clinical effort after a mesmerising run. 4-1 to Linfield, they're in the hat next Tuesday.
An entertaining and competitive game saw Linfield go one up after only 35 seconds. Burrows released McGackey and the low cross was turned in by Richie Johnston. The Reds gradually recovered from that early blow, and when Donnelly set up McLeod, Blues keeper Lamont did well to turn it away. In 32 minutes, Cliftonville did score, and a neat goal it was. The overhead pass from Drake, and Frank Maguire raced through to steer it past the keeper. Almost immediately, Linfield regained the lead. Baxter found McGackey, he turned, keeper Hutchinson made the stop, but Noel Bailey punched to knock in the rebound. In the second half, Cliftonville were always in it, but Linfield had them in trouble a few times. Sid Burrows going close here with a dipping volley. Then Burrows' superb pass let in Baxter, but after he teed it up, the big striker couldn't find the finish. But the Reds kept plugging away, and 7 minutes from time got their reward. The deep cross from Patterson, and Drake was there with his 14th of the season. Cliftonville 2, Linfield 2.
Not the best game of football either side will play this season. Portadown perhaps pointing to a badly imbalanced side, missing Curtis and Major in defence as some excuse for their scrappy play. But with barely a shot at goal between the teams, the 4,000-strong crowd went home somewhat less than satisfied. And if the deadlock was to be broken in the first half, the Blues looked the team most likely, thanks to the reformed defence not exactly clicking, Richie Johnson's shot bobbling wide. Another chance came from longer range after a skillful jinxing run from Lindsay Curry. This time, though, the ball flashed past the right-hand post. Well, Portadown scored perhaps what should have been their winner within 10 minutes of the restart. Sid Burrows, the man to shoulder any blame being apportioned, his back pass being picked up by Sandy Fraser, who seldom needs a second invitation. Scrappy as play was, though, one goal is often not enough, and Portadown brought on Stevie Cowan to help bolster the attack. And it was his back header that led to half a chance to the Port's best player on the day, Doolan. 8 minutes from time, it was 1-1. Greg Davidson had done a fine job quelling the threat of Lindsay Curry. It was the number 7, though, who took advantage of a beaty corner and beat Mickey Keenan with a shot the keeper will be keen to forget. 1-1 the final score. No great disaster for Portadown, who'll hope to sort out their defensive organisation before one of their games in hand tomorrow night against Glenavon at Shamrock Park.
Linfield pressed right from the off, and in the very first minute, Arch skipper Tommy Lehman had to make the covering tackle on Martin McGackey. Linfield went in front in 14 minutes. A brilliant solo effort from Lindsay Curry, beating a couple of men before firing in the left footer. Just before half-time, Arch equalised. With Linfield in a tangle, Robert Campbell raced clear, rounded the keeper, and Noel Bailey couldn't block the shot. 3 minutes into the second half, Castlereagh Park erupted as Arch took the lead. The ball bobbled about the Linfield box before David Edis poked it into the net. In 64 minutes, Arch grabbed a third. Jeff Spears lost his footing. Tommy Kincaid raced through, kept his composure, and rolled it into the bottom corner. With 18 minutes remaining, Linfield pulled one back. Stephen Beattie's free kick wasn't held by Fettis, and Jonathan McGee was first to the rebound. But 4 minutes later, Linfield had more problems when a clash between Lindsay Curry and Arch fullback Brian Campbell ended with Curry being sent off. In the dying minutes, the Blues had a chance to square the tie, but from Paul Mooney's free kick, Spears headed over the top. Despair for Spears and Linfield. The day belonged to Roy Coyle and Ards. Oval, an all-action Big Two clash was settled in the 13th minute. Barney Barr's free kick met by Gary McCartney, and keeper Wesley Lamont couldn't stop the header. Linfield tried to respond and went close a couple of times, but they couldn't find a way through, and the Glens held their lead to stay on the hunt for that European spot.